another Big Dog special edition coming for you. So Jim Palmer got to sit down with NetAlly's Dan Klimke, and they talked about the tools that NetAlly has built and developed and produced. And I'll be honest, I was sitting there with a little bit of envy because they are really cool and they do some great things. So, some of that envy was I don't have them in my arsenal, but if you don't, you should definitely take a look. And on top of it, Jim's the perfect person to sit down and talk to Dan, because if you're not excited about Wi-Fi and wireless networking, Jim's going to get you excited. So it was a lot of fun to sit back and watch them have a conversation and learn more about their tools. And I thought I'd share it with you. So here you go. Jim and Dan, take it away.
Hi, my name's Jim Palmer. I'm a solutions architect with Ruckus. We're here at Ruckus Big Dogs 2022 Americas, and we brought in NetAlly and Dan Klimke from NetAlly to talk about them. Now, NetAlly is a tool that I've been using for many years now, well, even before it was NetAlly.
Indeed.
And I've been friends with Dan and the gang down there. They actually were both from Colorado, and I was amazed when I learned that not everybody knows about NetAlly, their history, and it's a little bit of a history, but and so I invited them and we got them down here for the event here to talk about, what is NetAlly and what do you do and how do you interact and how do you work with networks? So first off, Dan, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And so can you give us just a little bit of background about how did you get into this and what do you do?
Okay. Well, me personally, I've actually been with the company for over 22 years.
Oh, see.
So now that might seem like a long time since NetAlly just became a company in 2019, but there's a little bit of history there. So I could tell you a little bit about that. So way back in the early 1990s, there was a group of 5 guys who had an idea for a product for doing network analysis. Back then it was for Token Ring.
Right.
And these guys worked for HP at the time and formed their own company in Colorado Springs called Forte Networks. And the product they came up with was the LAN meter. So they teamed up with Fluke to market the product for them. So Fluke manufactured and marketed the product. They were the R&D and development team back then. So we trace our lineage back to that group of guys who started this company way back in 1991, 92, I think.
Wow.
So we are the kind of the oldest, newest company that you've ever heard of, or never heard of. So we were part of Fluke for many years. In 2015, our business unit or our division was divested out of Fluke to another company. But just in 2018, 2019, NetAlly was sold and purchased by an investment company. So now we're a privately held, standalone, independent company. So we are relatively new in terms of our brand, but our technology, our people,
right,
and our legacy goes back for decades.
And so let's talk about, some of these tools that you do, because that's really kind of where you guys specialize in is the tools.
Exactly.
And so we have some here, but I don't want to talk about the ones we have on the table just yet.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of the other tools that, you guys bring that you have that, whether it's a solutions architect or an SC, that works for Ruckus, or if you work for a partner. I mean, what are some of the tools that you guys have that we don't have here that, you guys have that can help out people like us in building and running and maintaining networks?
Sure. Well, I mean, our technology encompasses both wired network analysis and Wi-Fi network analysis. And so we have both hardware tools, as you see on the table, as well as software products and cloud-delivered services that help fulfill those needs about network design and network operation and troubleshooting. Part of our product line also is the Air Magnet product line. That, of course, was acquired by Fluke way back in 2007, 2008. That is a part of our product line as well. So for Wi-Fi deployment planning, planning and simulation, predictive modeling, we have a solution for that as well. And that's all part of what we call the Air Mapper ecosystem. So Air Mapper is a combination of the hardware tools that can do data collection, air magnet that can do the predictive modeling, and our Link Live cloud service, which is a repository in the cloud, which is free of charge, where the data that's collected from the instrument is pushed up to the cloud for doing basically site survey heat mapping, as well as many, many other tasks that every network professional needs to do.
I'm a big fan of Link Live, so thank you. I love it. I use it all the time, and it's very handy when I need to prove to somebody what's going on with their network, because I get the report from Link Live, I get it emailed to my phone, and I can literally within seconds email that report. Especially when I'm doing troubleshooting, which is kind of some of the tools that you've brought over here this afternoon that we can kind of look at. And so when we use these troubleshooting tools and we get those reports, I can then share them. And because I see that all the time where people are like, oh, it's the network, it's the Wi-Fi, it's and so I can actually use that, and I can actually show them on my phone and then email them that report.
Right.
And so why don't you kind of go on there and let's talk about what you brought over today.
Will do, but first I want to point something out. So that Link Live cloud service, the key point there is that there's no fee for that. There's no licensing. It's we call it free or unencumbered collaboration, because if you're working for a particular client, you can invite them to your organization. We call it an organization. It's basically a collection of the data in the service. It costs nothing.
Yes.
Invite them to the organization, share the data with them. We're all about trying to help that, facilitate that collaboration. And another way that is really useful for network professionals, whether that's as a service provider, integrator, or MSP, you've got technicians in the field, you've got experts back at the home office. Link Live can be that collaboration connection between you and that remote staff. In fact, many of the tools you can take remote control through Link Live, so that if you're sitting at the office, you've got a tech across the city, across the state, across the world, frankly, you can just remote into the product through Link Live, and you can see exactly what that technician is seeing on site. And that's what makes it so powerful, because it's you've got differing skill levels amongst your staff, centralized experts who you can't afford to be running all over the place.
Right.
So that's why that collaboration aspect is so important.
And it's great. I've used it. It's a great thing, because it's handy when I don't have to spend a day out of pocket on a plane to get somewhere.
Or longer.
No offense to the guy that we send, but
yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some of these tools that we can take over or take control of. What are we looking at here?
So on the left-hand side here, this is Etherscope. So, So Etherscope is really the flagship of the product line. It encompasses all of the best that we have for both wired and Wi-Fi analysis. It has hardware that will do line rate 10 gigabit performance testing, capture, link testing, and Wi-Fi analysis that will do real-time troubleshooting of the Wi-Fi network, as well as doing site surveying. The great part about that aspect is that you can simply use this little lightweight handheld device to walk a facility, and I did that here at the show floor at the conference. Took some samples down the hallway here, and then that information is then automatically sent to Link Live, where we can then look at the heat map and do analytics about, well, how is this network performing? Are there any problems or issues? So it is a fantastic tool set where I've got an ultra portable tool that has hardware-based analysis, not like doing it with a phone or a tablet or something like that. And then the power of Link Live to do the analytics. And that's just on the Wi-Fi side, and that's just site survey. Of course, like I said, you've got real-time analytics of the Wi-Fi network, and then all the capabilities on the wired side. I mentioned it's 10 gigabit per second hardware, full line rate. So if you need to do packet capture at full line rate, 10 gig in the palm of your hand, that's really quite amazing.
Yeah.
As well as performance testing, which means we can generate traffic and send that traffic across the network point to point to validate bandwidth, throughput, latency, loss, jitter, validate QoS from end to end. Just a lot of capabilities in that particular function.
And one thing I like about this is that it has a copper, 10 gig copper, and a 10 gig fiber optic.
Right.
That you can plug in, and you can run either or, depending on where, sometimes you need, 10 gig in a wall jack, and sometimes you're in a data center and you're like, oh, it's fiber.
Yeah.
What do we have going there? So,
and no matter what type of SFP, you've got the DAC cables, pop them right into the unit, works just fine. And SX, LX.
It's just like anything else. It's got a little thing, you pop it up, and slides right out.
Exactly. Any standards compliant SFP will go in there 1 gig or 10 gig.
Yes. And because I'm a radio guy, you can actually plug in an external antenna right there for direction finding and go hunting down rogue clients, which I've done, and it's fun.
Yeah, you bet. Saves a lot of time in that manner too.
So I want to move on to what is personally my favorite one of your tools.
Okay.
I love the NXG. I love what it does, but my heart will always belong to the AirCheck G2.
Hey, AirCheck's a fantastic product. So it's a Wi-Fi only. So if we think about Etherscope as that combined wired and wireless environment, AirCheck is our dedicated wireless tester, although it does have an RJ45 port on the side. So that's handy because you can do a link test for an uplink for an AP.
Yes.
And the important part about that is to know what VLAN is configured on that port. I can't tell you how many people here have said we always run into that issue that the wired uplink is configured for the wrong VLAN. Why won't the AP turn up? Why can't we talk to it? Why won't the controller talk to it? You're in the wrong VLAN. So that's absolutely an essential capability to have when you're talking about wireless testing.
When I personally build, especially event networks, because I'll be brought in to build event networks.
Right.
This is my favorite tool because I literally wear it. It comes with a case, and I can strap it to the back of my hand. Yep. And all I do is just walk around, and it's a little holster. I can unplug from the AP. I plug directly in there. I run the test, and I go, oh, it's on this switch, this port. And it's like, oh, they plugged it into the wrong port on the switch. I send that back to the NOC. The NOC guys go clickety, 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 and I'm moving on. I can fix the problem in a matter of seconds and then keep moving while even before they are done, I can move on because I know that I have the right information at the right time to the right people, and I can just move on. So
incredible time saver.
It's my favorite tool. It will always hold a special place in my heart. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Now, the other thing, too, in addition to the site survey stuff that we do with the AirMapper capability, we also do the real-time analysis as well. We're looking at a picture of the auto test, which is a real-time test of the network as it is, where we're sitting right here, and identifying issues with utilization, interference, co-channel, adjacent channel interference, detect any other types of non-Wi-Fi interferers. Bluetooth devices, microwave ovens, cameras, anything that could be interfering with the Wi-Fi network.
Yeah, and it gives you a nice little color code. So if it's,
red is not good.
Red is not good. I can't tell you how many times I've been working with people and they're like, I'm not sure what the tool means, but I know it's red, and red is not good.
It's not good. That's right. So,
aren't those levels customizable? You can change those levels.
Yeah, sure. There's thresholds available to set what you like.
And so if your network happens to have a lot of, you can set that threshold to be like, we know it's bad, but it's always bad. We can't fix it. So
that's correct.
So that's nice.
Additionally, there's an idea of authorized and unauthorized devices. So you can upload a list of these are my acceptable APs, for example. And once that's been configured, whenever you're out testing, if something shows up that's not on the list, it will warn you and say, there's something here that's unauthorized.
I didn't know about that. I didn't know.
There you go.
All right, this is
stuff
awesome.
all the time.
I know. Well, you guys keep developing so fast, I can't keep up.
Well, that's true.
Slow down. All right, let's go into this last one here. This is another fun tool that I've used not as much as the wireless ones, but it is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, the Link Runner. So Link Runner is a product that we originally came out with in 2002. Way back in the day, it was a small little device, couple inches wide, 3 inches tall.
Yeah.
And Link Runner has advanced in many ways since then. Yes, it's bigger, but it's also doing, this is the Link Runner AT2000, does copper and fiber testing. Think of it as a link tester on steroids, I'd say, because it also does cable testing, link test into the switch, pull the LLDP or CDP frame or identify that as it comes into the link. And the ability to do a number of different kinds of diagnostics as well. So if you're turning up network drops or need to validate them, Link Runner does a fantastic job of this. And of course, every time it does the test, that's uploaded to Link Live. So every time you've got a record of the testing that has been done. And
that's from doing big networks. I can't tell you how great that is to validate it.
Yeah.
Because I've had too many installers lie to me.
What?
And, well, that might be a little rough. They misrepresent when things are done and what they tested, but being able to have that record, because at that point, it's such a time saver to me where I know that look, you validated it, you tested it the way that I wanted you to test it, and then I got that report.
And as you pointed out earlier, you can have it set up to email you anytime that one of those tests is completed. So you're actually getting notifications that the work is progressing.
Yes.
Joe is doing his job. I'm seeing the test results come in as he's going through and validating the network.
Yeah, it's really a fantastic suite of tools, and there's smaller tools that you didn't bring over right now that are just almost
Link Sprinter, small little pocket network tester.
Yeah.
We also have the test accessory, which is a pocket iPerf server.
I've used that.
That can work with the AirCheck, the Etherscope, who can target that iPerf server to do an iPerf throughput test.
Yep.
Frankly, you can also use it for a command line iPerf as well.
Yes.
And you don't have to provision an iPerf server on site. You just bring this little thing and plug it in, and off you go.
And that is a huge time saver.
Indeed.
And you can plug that iPerf server in anywhere. So it's not just in the data center. You can go one side to the other side. So it's really a handy tool, and again it's a whole suite of tools based on the needs,
exactly,
the capabilities of your technicians.
Yep.
And really what you're working on, and it's nice because it's, especially with the Link Live tying that all together, it really just creates this cohesive set of tools that you can hand to practically anybody and make it work. So
for the longest time, one of our core philosophies is the right tool for the job.
Yes.
And that's why we see a range of capabilities from that Link Sprinter for very basic link testing, about $400,
right,
all the way up to pretty hardcore network analysis, all in the palm of your hand. So.
And and even some of the stuff you were showing me earlier today about what this thing does is really, I mean, we don't have enough time to cover everything that this does.
Topology mapping, heat mapping, network inventories.
That time you guys
packet capture, VLAN monitoring.
You pwned my network at my previous job and found out that I was doing something wrong, and I get a phone call from your CTO, I think, and going, hey Jim, you got a problem that we need to talk about. And so it's just a fantastic thing, and I'm really happy that you guys were able to join us down here.
And thanks for having us come. It has been a great event, great conversations with everybody.
It's been fun to introduce a tool that's been near and dear to my heart for many years to my bigger Ruckus family, and kind of be like, hey, you know what? There are some really cool tools that really are time savers, and it's the right tool for the right job. So
you got it.
Thank you for coming down and joining us.
Jim, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
You bet.